we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here at our final session for today. My name again is Tanya Bulette, and I'm the counseling coordinator for the San Diego County Office of Ed. And if you haven't been a part of these webinars, they've been fantastic. As a school counselor in San Diego, I never really had an opportunity, I feel, to learn about all the special programs that our community colleges offer. And it's such a valuable tool to have this information so that you can steer your students in the right direction. And our community colleges offer so many amazing programs. So we will be posting all of these session recordings as well as all the materials shared onto our SDCOE School Counselor webpage. And we should have all of the recordings from today up on Monday. But if you want to go there now, all of the recordings from Wednesday and from last Friday are already posted. So that's good news. So without much further ado, I'm going to introduce, we have Deanna Schupp, who is and I'm going to get her correct title here. It is the Manager of Outreach and Onboarding Services, and she will be presenting today, as well as Shanti Turner, who is an ambassador at Palomar as well. So Deanna, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all of you that are here. I know I used to recruit for San Diego State, so I know it kind of always seemed like Maricosta and Palomar were so far away up in the northern part of San Diego County. So we're thankful that you're here. As Tanya mentioned, my name is Deanna Schupp. I'm the Manager of Outreach and Onboarding Services. So as of July 1, we took on onboarding services as well. So some of you may know me as far as outreach services. We just opened our doors, having our own outreach focused department in 2017. And now we're kind of compiling all of that into outreach and onboarding services. So we're supporting students like those that you work with from that very initial stage of I'm interested, I want to learn more, to helping them with orientation, onboarding, questions about registering, connecting them to the right resources like counseling, that type of thing. And then also we obviously work with all of you for those that are interested in dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment and want to take some classes while they're in high school. She did mention, Tanya did mention that Shawnee is here with me too. She's our lead Palomar ambassador, and you will hear from her in just a couple slides. And she will be doing some, pasting some links for you into the chat today, but we will definitely take questions at the end. But I know it helps if you actually have the links that you can click on. So thank you to Shawnee for being with me today to help with that. All right, we will kick things off here. And this is kind of a little bit more broader. I know that some of you have been listening to presentations all week, so thank you so much for hanging in and coming on to the Palomar presentation. First, I just want to kind of think about kind of just the bigger picture of what are the opportunities at a community college. I think this is something I spent 16 years recruiting for Cal States at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level. I'm still a huge advocate of that system. But I always loved how many opportunities there were at the community college. And as far as the audience, how many different individuals could come and get something from this experience. And they are all totally different. And the cat would like to join this presentation, not today. Okay, I think we all think of almost like the general, you might get an associate's degree, you might transfer, you might get a certificate. There's a lot of different things that I think are just an automatic that we think of, but I also like to remind students, so therefore I'm reminding you, of kind of the bigger picture of how much more we can get from the community colleges. So it's not just us. I know you are counselors from across the county, so you can think about your local community colleges that are in your area. But we do obviously have that option where students that are in high school can take classes. So it's not just dual enrollment that might be at your high school, but it might also be concurrent enrollment, which is where they're taking the class at the community college or right now online. So this is a great time that high school students, if they want to get ahead, if they want to maybe work with you and make up some courses in high school online, there are a lot more opportunities for students right now as far as what they can get while being in high school at the community college. We also have students, this is a fun one, where maybe they did graduate from high school, move away to a 4-year, or maybe they didn't even move away, but went to a 4-year. They often are visiting us in the summer and taking some classes to make sure they are continuing to progress in their community or in their college courses, and doing it at a little bit of a cheaper cost for them. So this is definitely a place where in the summers, or maybe for Palomar, we've got an intersession in June, 1-month classes in June, 1-month classes in January. So we also see students at that time just trying to get an extra class, trying to get ahead, trying to continue to stay on track, whatever it might mean for them. They're balancing work, family, school, balancing a lot of things. Sometimes this is something that fits into that puzzle to make it all work together. We also have a lot of opportunities where students might be learning English as a second language. We got a lot of parents of students that come to us to learn English as a second language. We have career changers, some maybe that just want an extra skill. Maybe it's, I'm feeling great on this team, but now I want to be the lead of this team, so I might want to take some management courses. Or maybe it's something that is not for credit. They just want to take, say, a seminar that is something on a weekend or a 3-day course. We have a handful of short-term courses as well that individuals can be a part of. So there is a lot to advance your experience and your knowledge, no matter what the age, and no matter what stage they are in their educational process. And last but not least, community colleges offer all sorts of fun. This is one thing that I have been, I will completely admit, I have worked for Cal State Sacramento, San Diego State, and Cal State Fullerton in the business MBA programs. And I come here because I really wanted to be in this community college environment. I was really surprised how much was offered at Palomar for athletics, for performing arts. We have over 100 performing activities and arts each year. We've got quite a variety of different classes. I'm trying to think of some fun examples. Like we put on this slide, glass blowing is kind of one of our go-tos, which I know Sean is going to mention. But there's a lot that our community, our students, individuals that just want to try something fun, try something new, they might want to be a part of. So you can come do a metal smithing class. You can learn how to make jewelry. There are a lot of different fun classes. So I think there's kind of a big picture of what can be offered at Palomar, but also offered in the community college in general. This kind of kicks off more of our specifics towards Palomar. And a lot of students will say, you know, what are some of the big things of why I might think about Palomar? And it's kind of funny because one of the big pieces is actually our size. And while that does sound intimidating to some, that does mean that we can offer a lot. So we have more than 200 different majors. We have more than 60 different services to support those students. We have multiple campuses. We've got Escondido, we have Rancho Bernardo, Camp Pendleton, Fallbrook, the main campus that's in San Marcos. You can attend classes at, you know, multiple different locations. And then we also have different opportunities as far as the timing and the flexible scheduling. Based on your schedule, you can look at what all of our options are, and maybe you want to take just the regular semester classes, but maybe you'd like to try fast track, and that is where you have two, you kind of take that semester, divide it into two, and you've got 8-week classes. So some students would rather just focus on 2 or 3 classes for 8 weeks, and then 2 or 3 classes for 8 weeks, instead of trying to focus on 4 to 5 classes for the semester. So we do have options in that way. And then previously I mentioned we've got intersession in June and January. And then of course we have summer. There's all sorts of different scheduling options in the summer. But all of that together does provide for a lot of different opportunities and options for the students to take advantage of. It kind of helps them to fit college into what their life is. Fit college into what their responsibilities are. Are they working? Do they have family obligations? And then they've got different options with us as far as what they can fit into that. And then another piece that kind of just highlights over all of that is just the quality of the programming. We have professors that are teaching with us and then turning around and teaching at Cal State San Marcos, teaching at UC San Diego, teaching at UCLA, San Diego State. We have professors from a variety of places that are both working at Palomar as well as other institutions. So one of the things we definitely pride ourselves in is continuing a quality education for the students that this may be it. They may jump into the workforce from here, but this may be a launching pad for a transfer path as well. So we've got a lot of options for them. And of course, a great reason to choose Palomar is the Palomar Promise, which I will talk about in a little bit. But just for a moment here, I want to give a chance to give Shawnee a couple minutes. Again, like I mentioned, she is covering our posting some links for you in the chat today, but I also wanted to give her a chance just to give her story really quickly and let you all know what her experience has been about and why she's happy that she chose Palomar.
Thank you, Deanna. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having us today. My name is Shawnee. I am a full-time student here at Palomar, and I am 28 years old. I graduated from high school back in 2011 from Oceanside High School, and I decided to take a break just to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and if I wanted to come to college. So I actually came back in 2020. Right before COVID hit, of course. So this whole transition of being online has been a huge learning experience. And I'm actually super glad that I'm back in college and that I can take my business off. I am a business management and graphic communications major, and I'm also studying glass blowing, metalsmith and jewelry making, Japanese, Spanish, and a few other things. So I have a wide variety of things that I am currently looking at doing at Palomar, and I am so glad to be here because they have so many different opportunities that are available for me, as well as the other students that come here. And I am, like I said, I am super glad to be here and just being able to help these high school, middle school students see what college can actually do for them, even if they don't want to come right after high school. They can take a break, and having that kind of personal experience with those students, saying you don't have to come to a community college right after you graduate, you can take a break. It does relieve them in a way that they can say, okay, I can take a break from education, I can work on myself, figure out if college is really the way I want to go. And from there, they are able to make the best decision for themselves. And some students actually will come back to high school, or sorry, come back to college after a little break once they figure out, okay, I actually want to do, as an example, I want to do welding, I want to be a welder. So they'll come back to school and take courses on being a welder. And that is just something that is amazing because it does show that you don't have to go, there is no schedule, there's no time, there's just whenever you feel most comfortable in coming back to college. And that's something I love sharing, especially with my story. But I do thank you again for having us here. I am going to pass it back off to Deanna.
Thank you, Shawnee. And at the end, you can ask me questions. You can ask her questions about her experience if you want to. We will both be here. For this next slide, I want to just give you a couple images to give you an idea of the variety of types of majors that we have on the campus. Like I said earlier, I think this is one of the great pieces for students to have the opportunity to try a lot of different things. So we have, obviously we've got a lot of different options as high school counselors, you kind of already know. We've got the options as far as students that want to take a certificate and get that education, jump out in the workforce. But we also have students that might want to just do the associate's degree, maybe start working, consider later, maybe if they want to come back. And quite a few students that their entire focus is focusing on transferring and starting here and launching to get somewhere else. And I gave just kind of a variety of examples. I usually, when I'm talking to students, give them kind of an idea of what some of these might be. But again, with 200 different degrees and certificates, we do have a lot of options for them. And definitely, if they are someone that is undeclared, there are a lot of options as far as that goes, to give them a chance to try some new things, learn some different skills, see where they might fit. So this also offers them a lot in that way as well. And I like to remind everyone, normally when we are in person, we are telling everyone, check out the fact sheet that you would have in your hands right this minute that shows all of the majors. Obviously, I can't hand that to you right this second, but we will put the link in the chat for our virtual toolbox, which part of that is a virtual information fair, and it has PDFs for all of the handouts that we normally have at a table. So one of those is the actual PDF of our fact sheet each year, and on the inside of that, it does list all of our programs, and it also lists a lot of the general links for departments and procedures that students have questions about. So everything from the steps to enroll to questions about different questions from different departments, such as Disability Resource Center, or maybe they have admissions questions, or maybe they have student life questions. Whatever their questions might be, there are links in that fact sheet. So you can always direct students to the either the virtual information table or the virtual toolbox for prospective students if they are just at that learning point. And we'll give you at the end, we'll talk about, if you can't remember where to send them, Palomar Connect. That's where you send them. It'll, no matter where they're at in their journey, that's where you can send them to. All right, so a little bit more as far as thinking of what are those different types of majors. You'll see here on the right side of this slide, we've got our learning and career pathways. So that gives you an idea of sort of, if you almost want to think of it as divisions, what are the different divisions that we have at Palomar? That lists what all of our different academic divisions are. And one of the great new tools that our faculty has created in the last couple of years is our pathways mapper. So students can click on that, palomar.edu/mapper, and they can look at their major, what courses they would take for their major. So do these courses sound interesting? Is this something that I'm interested in pursuing? It also has information about careers. Some of them have information about salaries, what you might do with your future. So that's a great place for them to kind of see, does this fit in with what my passions are saying right now? Is this something that's going to work for me? Is this program at Palomar going to work for me? And then I always like to say that's a great place for undeclared students to kind of stir around, see what they can find out. But another great place for undeclared students is also the Career Center. So we have that link there at the bottom for the Career Center, that we do have a lot of options. The Career Center is not just for those that have picked their career, but those that are trying to figure out their career. So our students, as soon as they are connected with us, they can connect with the Career Center and take tests that are assessments for basic skills, for career skills, for interests. They have quite a few different career assessment type of programs that the students can use, as well as information about different careers as far as making accounts, and then learning more about the careers and the fields that they're specifically interested in. So this is definitely a great place that students can kind of get some of that inspiration moving as they're figuring out what their college future looks like. So I do want to talk a little bit about, we talked about 200 plus different majors and certificates. We looked at our divisions. I do want to kind of pull out a couple things just to give a few highlights. We do often, as the community college, get a lot of questions about, make sure, especially from counselors, make sure you talk about career technical. So career education, technical education, we do have a lot of programs where students are getting hands-on skills to get a certificate and jump out in the workforce. So I do like to give students kind of this visual of some examples of what they might study, where they might be able to study in a year and jump out in the workforce. Or maybe they're interested in something like the fire academy or the police academy. Maybe they want to be a paramedic. We do have a lot of different programs where they can get those skills and jump out into the workforce. We also have apprenticeship programs throughout the county of San Diego, where students are in class with us, but at the same time, they are working in a program. So they're walking away not just with hands-on skills and core skills, but they're walking away with mentors. They're walking away with references. They're walking away with solid career experience. So we do have a lot of different options, whether it is, the student that is interested in something like this, student that is interested in transferring, or again, as I mentioned before, the student that's still figuring it out. There are a lot of options there for them. And I just want to take a couple slides here really quickly, just to highlight a couple things. Each year I try and have a couple different programs that I just kind of bring a little bit more attention to. And sometimes it is because it might be something that is the latest upcoming, or future jobs might be coming. Sometimes it's just a great reminder to students that there are a lot of different jobs, careers that we've never heard of. When I was in high school, had I heard of higher ed? You could work in higher ed. This is a career. No, I wanted to do interior design, and then I wanted to work in a hotel and hospitality. And here I am. So, there are a lot of things that I think students over time are being exposed to. And so I do like to give a few little highlights for different programs for students each year. One of them right now, I'll just give you a couple here really quickly. I know we're doing kind of this like speed round of a 25, 30-minute presentation here, but I did want to give some highlights to our geology program. A lot of these programs are looking across the next 10 years as having more and more jobs. If you think things like even drone technology, if you think about things like water science, teachers and professors in all of these programs, there's a lot growing within this field that we definitely can see some more growth that's going to be coming in the next 10 years, decade or so. So this is an area that students sometimes don't really think about, but might think, oh, wait, I've got some interests here. We also have, as you all know, this is a land of technology right now. And we do have quite a few different programs within our computer sciences and information technology. Right now, the data analytics program is definitely something that's growing, because this is something that, if you think any institution, any company, we've got a lot of different places, even if it's something, in the public sector, we need data. And we need those great smart people that are going to analyze that data for us. So we do have a great program for data analytics, and you can be someone that is new to the field. You can be someone that wants the intro. You can also be someone that wants the refresher. This program can work for students that are new, as well as individuals that maybe already have a bachelor's degree or already have some work experience and are interested in adding this knowledge to what they've already experienced in the workforce. We also have a great archaeology and anthropology program on the campus. I think this is a great example. Some of you that have had us out on your campuses, you'll know that we've got a professor that is often out there at your fairs with us, who is very passionate about what she does. And this is something that I think a lot of students might not really understand, like, what might I do with this? And yet we've got a lot of different options for what these students can learn, what they can study. A lot of them do this as almost like something that supports another major. So they are learning about individuals. They are learning about kind of sort of a background or a cultural anthropology, kind of this, almost information that supports whatever it is that they're doing. And then a lot of them obviously carry on and work very specifically in the field of archaeology, might be in excavation. There's a lot of different options for them. And physically on the campus, we do have a lot of different experiences that the students can experience there on campus, as well as just hands-on experience that these students get within the area. And that was something that was highlighted by this program as far as being one of the most hands-on experiences in California as far as what the program can provide for the students learning. All right, we also have something that I think, again, students might not know to ask about or think about, but a program in gender and women's studies. And this is something that is kind of interesting. This is a program that students can use this knowledge in all sorts of different fields. As you can see on this screen, everything from whether it might be something like advocating for certain populations or social services, but it's also something that this type of knowledge and awareness is very useful to the students within business, within government, within community organizations. So this is something that the students can take this information and use in a lot of different fields. And it's kind of interesting, a lot of students will add an associate's degree that might have nothing to do with their bachelor's degree. So I love where this is for some, this is a stepping stone. For some, this is kind of the entire path that they go through. But also for others, this is something that they are passionate about, and they want to add this information to what it is that they are learning and what it is that they want to do with their future. So we do have a lot of options here as far as the support that the knowledge the students get, the support they can put towards whatever their career might be. All right, moving on a little bit from those, I do. Obviously, we get a ton of questions about transferring. Of course, you can start at any California community college and you can transfer just about anywhere. We have students that, transfer within the state, to Cal States, to private schools, to UCs, but we also have students transfer anywhere. We have students transfer out of state. We have students transfer to Yale and Harvard. That was my combo of Yale and Harvard, apparently. For us, Palomar, we actually have a lot of students that go to schools in Arizona. So you do find a mix. I do remind those students that the same way they had to apply and go through a process to get here, the same process is true for getting to the four-year school. So I remind them to meet with counselors, go to the transfer center, get some advice, get some information. So while yes, it's their responsibility, we have plenty of support to help them to do that. We have workshops. We have workshops specifically from the four-year schools they might go to, but also just workshops to plan ahead, and then definitely one-on-one appointments with the counselors. A lot of you do probably already obviously think about students that might want to be taking college classes while they are in high school. We do have a lot of options for that. Again, I mentioned it earlier, whether the students might be taking classes at your location taught by Palomar, but we always have concurrent enrollment where high school students can be taking classes at the community college. So this is something you can look into at all of your community colleges. As a high school student, they can take those classes for free. Depending on how it's set up, whether it's dual or concurrent enrollment, there might be some other things, whether they have to pay for their books or not. So there's things for them to think about. But this is a great opportunity. Some students use it to get ahead. Some students use it to get caught up in high school. We always remind them to work with you first as a counselor. But we also have students that just want to take some of the fun stuff. Like maybe they're thinking of something like, I get a lot of students that ask me about some music related things, technology and music, computers and music. So it might be something like that where this isn't something offered at high school, but I want to kind of tinker in this and learn more. So there's a lot of different routes they can take as far as a high school student to kind of not just advance their knowledge, but something to get inspired about as well. Okay, I'm going to turn things over a little bit off of academics just for a second. I think, a lot of folks almost, I would say, full confession, I probably did this too. I thought very much of the community college previously as, we just go, we get classes really quickly, and we run our way with coursework. But I want to remind all students to check out the services. So we've got palomar.edu/students, gives them information about services. I'm going to fly through a couple of these here real quick. We've got student life and leadership, so activities that they can do. We have performing arts that they can be part of, athletics that they can be part of. So there's a lot outside of the classroom that our students can get involved in. I try and tell them, don't forget, think about all the finances and the big picture. $46 a unit. What exactly does that mean? That means $1,380 per year. So that is a little bit different than they might see at some of the other four-year institutions, but all of this is a big consideration. We've got financial aid options for all of these. Looking ahead, they've got a lot to consider, but this is a great consideration for a quality education to either kick off their education or be their full education. And then last but not least, I want to talk about Promise. I know a lot of individuals, this is a big topic. They just want to hear about Promise. We do offer the Palomar Promise program for any students. Doesn't matter what high school they went to, as long as they don't have previous college units, unless they took them during high school, that is fine. But it does cover their first 2 years of tuition. It does cover, they have textbook assistance. They have skill shops that support them. Basically workshops that will support them as a first-year student, and there are counseling services specifically for them. So this is a program that we do make sure that the students have all of the support and the community that they need, and make sure they start off in their college journey in kind of that positive, successful route, hoping to launch them with successful career, successful education experience. And then I'm just going to hold that up for just a second to make sure that people can see. Right now, all applications are open. Palomar application, Promise application, and the FAFSA or DREAM Act applications. So students can apply right now. They can make sure to ask us if they have any questions. They can contact our offices if they have any questions. And then come spring, we will help them with the next level of procedures such as online orientation, figuring out educational planning, and the registration piece. And I'm actually going to leave us on this slide and see if we have any questions from the audience. Great place to start, students. Just send them to Palomar Connect. That gives them an option for all three of these options. They can click from here to fill out the interest form, get more information if they're just exploring, or if they're ready to apply, it takes them to steps to enroll and helps them to move forward from there. So at this point, I want to open up for questions and see if any of you have any questions that you have for us. I'm moving things around here on my Zoom here.
Actually, Deanna, there was a question in the chat I wanted to see if you could answer.
Yes.
For our K through 12, if the student doesn't have a parent or guardian and they're homeless, do they still need a parent signature, or how can they get around that?
That is a great question. There would be some sort of guardian, even if they are possibly a ward of the court or something like that. If they are a student that legitimately with your support and with them, they are having trouble getting that either a signature or getting that information, they can definitely contact financial aid. Financial aid and admissions are kind of together, so it sounds a little wonky, but there is someone, specifically, her name is Leanne, that works specifically with students that are foster youth or just in different guardian situations. They could definitely help that student to connect to the right place, and we could work things out for them. That's a great question.
Okay. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, but I want everyone to know that I've been copying down all of these links that Shanti has put into the chat, and I will make sure that they are posted on the resource page as well. Fabulous resources. So thank you so much for doing that. So I think that's it, but thank you again to Deanna and Shanti for being here today and for sharing so much great information about Palomar College. Again, this information will be posted on our school counseling webpage by Monday. So be on the lookout for that in case you had to step away or want to review or refresh anything that they had to say today. So thank you again, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for having us. We really appreciate it. And if any of you need us, you can always contact Outreach. We still say Outreach, even though we're Outreach and Onboarding Services, but we're at outreach@palomar.edu and palomar.edu/outreach. So please, if you have any questions or you want to bring a group to us for any of our services, we'd be happy to talk to any of you. No matter what part of the county you're in, you're welcome with us.